All right, in this video, we're gonna jump into the computer and I'm gonna reveal the best targeting methods to get you to $1,000 a day or more fast with Shopify Dropshipping. What's going on? Braden here. In just a second, we're gonna jump into the computer and I'm gonna detail out the best targeting methods with Facebook ads to get your Shopify business to $1,000 a day or more fast. These are bar none the best targeting methods for you to use for your Shopify business. And I'm gonna actually dive into my ads manager and show you exactly how to do this. But before we get into it, if you guys could please do me a huge favor, smash that like button down below, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and definitely leave a comment. This video idea actually came about from one of the last few videos, someone leaving a comment wanting me to do this video. So definitely leave a comment, I definitely check those, and I actually answer all questions left down in the comment section within the first hour of the video upload. So definitely turn on your post notification bell so you get the upload right when it comes out. All right, let's jump in the computer, get right on into it. All right, so in my opinion, these are by far the best targeting methods for you to use to have a lot of success with Shopify Dropshipping. There's a lot of different interest targeting methods out there, but these three methods are by far my favorite. And I'm actually gonna show you a couple very, very popular methods, ones that a lot of very successful people use, and then I'm gonna show you one that not that many people use, but in my opinion, works insanely well. And I'm actually gonna show you my very, very favorite method at the end of the video, the one that I use 90% of the time, and the one that I really suggest you use for a lot of your products. We're gonna bounce between this screen and the ads manager. I'm gonna show you exactly how to go ahead and use all of these methods. So the very first interest targeting method that we're gonna talk about is arguably the most popular for beginners. This is typically where not only dropshippers start with, but also people just new to Facebook ads, where they've got a social media marketing agency, whatever. They typically start with single interest targeting. A lot of people have actually shied away from this recently. A lot of the pro dropshippers don't use this as much, but this still works insanely well if you have the right product type. So single interest targeting is exactly what it sounds. You're only using one single interest rather than having a ton of interests, or rather than narrowing down, excluding, doing anything fancy. You're literally just targeting people that like one single interest. Now, this can actually be troublesome if you have a very, very niche product, a product that has a very specific audience, but if you have the right product type, this could be your winner for your ads for this product type. So if you have a general product or product with a very broad audience, this is how you can scale to the moon before you even get to lookalike audiences. So a good example would be something in the apparel niche, something like sunglasses, hats, something in home goods, something that regardless of a person's background, they could be interested in this. It's gonna be very hard to narrow down on an audience type for your target customer because there's so many people across all backgrounds, all types that like the product. That's where single interest targeting can work insanely well. And what's great is if you find out that it's working, not only will a single interest targeting work great for testing, but this is how you can really, really scale it to the moon. Because if you have a huge audience that you're targeting with the single interest, you've now got millions and millions and millions of people to scale this ad to. So in the ads manager, what you're gonna do is you're gonna create your campaign, and then when you come down to detailed targeting, you're literally just entering in one interest type here. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the sunglasses example that we like to use. You can literally just use a broad term like sunglasses. Now I know a lot of people get scared of doing this because you can blow a budget really quickly if you don't have the right product type, but this is where you can get a lot of data back very, very quickly. And if you have the right product and you're putting this ad in front of people that are interested in this, you can scale this very quickly. So this doesn't only work with very, very broad terms. Say you're selling a Wayfarer sunglasses or aviator sunglasses. You can type in aviators or Wayfarers, people that only like that style. So you can actually get a little bit more narrowed down than just a very, very broad term. But I typically would say start with the broad term, find out if you've got interest in the product. If that term works great, you can scale that to the moon. But you know, when you get to that point, you can go ahead and even split test or just test these more specific down interests as well. And then you've got a ton of single interest ads working. This is definitely a great place to start if you have a very broad or general product. Very, very niche products, I wouldn't ever really start with a single interest. You wanna go ahead and really, really know your audience for those niche type products. And that's where the second method comes in. Now, the second method, flex targeting, this is arguably the most popular method for drop shippers. This is what you've probably already heard a lot about. I still get questions on what flex targeting is. So this was introduced by Facebook a few years ago, and this is to where you can get very, very specific with your audience. If you know your audience, which you should, you can really, really hone in and target in on that very exact audience. So you can actually use narrowing down and excluding to take a single interest or even multiple interests, but then narrow down from people who like those to then they also have to like this. So instead of taking these, you've now got the honed in middle ground of both in that very, very targeted down audience. And then you can even exclude people. And there's times when you would actually want to exclude people to make it even more specific. This is where you can get very, very specific with your audience. And the more niche down your product is, the more flex targeting you're going to want to use. So this is definitely great for both very, very general and broad products. You can definitely use this with the same audience type that we talked about with single interest targeting, but this is very, very great for those very, very niche down or narrowed down audience type products. So when you go to your ads manager, you're going to want to go ahead and we'll just use one example here. So we'll say people that like dogs. So that's a very, very broad term. Say that we've got a t-shirt that's for Boston Terrier lovers. So people that own Boston Terriers, we're not going to want to just put dogs in here. That's too broad of a term. That ad's going to be fed to people that, like labs, like all different types of breeds, when we might be wanting to get that 1% of dog lovers that like Boston Terriers. So that's where we narrow down the audience. So we can come in here and put Boston Terrier. So right here, we've got two terms, so we'll go ahead and put in the first with 1 million. We just really, really narrowed down that audience to now only people that like Boston Terriers. And instead of just using a single interest term of just using people that like Boston Terriers, if you do dogs, a lot of times this will work a lot better, and it typically works better if you stack. So we could put in right here, people that like dogs, people that like t-shirts, streetwear. We could get really, really broad in the first box right here, and then we could narrow it down to the specific breed. There's several different methods to go about with flex targeting, and then you can even exclude. So we can go ahead and use the example of people that don't like pit bulls. We don't want to target pit bull lovers for whatever reason. You can go ahead and exclude. And so this is where you can go ahead and really, really get fancy here and really target in on your audience, because you don't just narrow it down once. You can go ahead and narrow it down multiple terms to keep getting in targeting. So this is where you're really going to want to know your target audience. You don't want to just go ahead and be throwing random terms in here, but you can actually blend the third method that I'm going to show you and make that a flex method as well. And that works the best in my opinion. But right here, this is where you do need to know your target audience, and this works great for those niche products. So the third method, and this is where you can actually go ahead and blend this with flex targeting, is stacking. This is another very popular method, but the way I'm going to show you is not as known, or not as many people use it, and they don't know the benefits of it. So stacking is where you're literally just going ahead and putting in a ton of different interest types in the interest box. So instead of just doing sunglasses, you would do sunglasses, people who like streetwear, people who like urban wear. You can go ahead and really, really fill up that box, and this will make your audience very, very big. And a lot of people are scared of doing this because it'll give you such a big audience, and that can be very bad. But if you use the right method, this can work extremely, extremely well. So where I think this works the best is instead of a very, very, very niche down product, I think very niche down products, flex targeting works absolutely the best. This works great for those mid-grade, those ones that have a pretty broad audience, not an extreme broad audience, up to a very, very broad audience type. And in my opinion, those are the ones that you can really, really scale to the moon anyway. So I've talked about this in several other videos, my favorite interest targeting types with stacking, and that's where we get to competitors, magazines, hobbies, and activities. These are my 3 types of stacking methods that I like to use. So we'll go in here for sunglasses. Instead of typing in sunglasses, well, let's go ahead and do competitors. So we're actually going to find competitors that sell our exact product type. The reason this works extremely well is you're literally telling Facebook, I want people who you already have data on that have already shopped at or love a brand that is very similar to mine or selling a very, very similar product type to mine, you're getting your ads in front of the right people right away. I've had the most success with competitor stacking for almost 3 years now. This is by far my favorite method. So with sunglasses, we'd come in here and we'd want to go ahead and target people who like Ray-Ban. We'd want, people who like Oakley's, and then you'd want to go ahead and find your different competitors in your niche. So not just sunglasses, you can go ahead, whatever niche you're in, find the competitors, put it in there. If you're in the outdoor space, REI, Patagonia, go ahead and stack those in, and you're finding a ton of people. It usually has a very broad audience, a ton of people that have already said they like your exact product type. So that's a way to really, really hone in on and find or exactly tell Facebook exactly who you want. So the other method with stacking that I like to use is magazines. This is one that a lot of people don't use. If you go ahead and use magazines, that's also a way, like competitor stacking, that you're telling Facebook the exact people you want to use while keeping a very broad audience. So with magazines, I've used the makeup example for this. I don't know makeup magazines, but say Vogue or Cosmopolitan, whatever is in your space, you want to find magazines related to that, and that typically puts it in front of a very, very unique audience that's also related to your niche, and then obviously hobbies and activities. So if you're in the outdoor space, you'd want to do camping, fishing, hunting, people that like the exact hobbies or activities related to your product. Now, how I said you can actually go ahead and blend this with flex targeting, the two favorite types that I have is just general competitor stacking, so just putting competitors in there. That's typically where I start and where I test products with. But then from there, I typically like to go ahead and do that in either whether I've got competitor stacking or hobbies stacking, I'll go ahead and narrow down from there. And that's just flex targeting, but it's using the competitors or hobbies and activities. I'll narrow down to make my audience a little bit more specific, and that's typically after I've gotten some data back and I know a little bit better who to target, or I know my audience very well. That's working extremely well, not just for testing, but for scaling as well. But for testing, I recommend for 90% of products, go ahead and go with either competitors, magazines, or hobbies and activities, typically competitors. Go with competitor stacking, and then if you need to flex down from there, narrow down from there, exclude some different people, different audiences from there, definitely do that as well. But blending stacking with flex targeting is by far my favorite. So then from there, what you would do, this is where you'd get into split testing. One of my next few videos is actually gonna be on split testing, because you're gonna go ahead and use these for both the initial testing to find out if the product works, and if you're profitable with that product, this will get you to those $1,000 days, and then you can even scale up past that. But then you want to split test from there. You want to split test to find out the best interest type, because not only is that going to give you better data for lookalike audiences, but now you're going to have even more ads running that work extremely well. So that's where you'd go ahead, you'd split test different single interests if you've got the right product type, or you'd split test, using flex targeting. I want to go ahead and exclude this term this time. I want to go ahead and narrow down these two terms this time. That's where you'd go ahead and do that. Or with stacking, you'd go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and split test competitor stacking versus people who like magazines in that niche. And that's the way to really, really hone in on. But in the very beginning, just to get you to those $1,000 days, I'd go ahead, this right here is what I'd use. I'd use competitor stacking. I'd find the best competitors in my niche, the closest link competitor to the products I'm selling. Say, just like I brought up the example of the outdoor space. If I've got a very general outdoor store, REI is going to be one of the best for you. And then you can go, more specific from there. If you have a very, very specific store, just like sunglasses, and say you only sell Wayfair sunglasses, Ray-Ban might be your best competitor. And you can even use a single competitor type and test that, and then stack with another ad set as well. And that's another method to go ahead and use, using single interest targeting with competitors. But typically, most of the time, I like to go ahead and stack up competitors, because I've seen it gives you so much more of a broad audience and a very, very specific audience right off the bat that works extremely well. But I hope you guys found some value in this video. This is definitely a video that someone wanted me to do last week. So if this only resonates with you, I hope you enjoyed it, but I hope a lot of you found value in this video. Definitely leave a comment down below if you have any questions, and then if you have any video ideas that you would like me to do a video on, I can definitely do that. I've got a split testing video coming for y'all soon that's gonna be huge for y'all to take you to huge numbers. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Definitely check out my playlist I have for 2019 Shopify success. I'll go ahead and have that link down below, but that right there can take you to huge numbers very quickly. So make sure you check out the videos in that. If you could, please go ahead and smash that like button down below. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Keep grinding, y'all. I'll see you in the next video.